Most people are terrified of empty space. They talk to fill the void. They gossip to feel seen. They explain themselves to feel safe. But you, when you choose silence, you become a mirror. People aren't afraid of your lack of words. They're afraid of the thoughts they have while looking at your calm face. In a world that never stops screaming, your stillness is a threat to their chaos. Stoicism isn't just about internal peace. It's about the strategic withdrawal of your attention. If they can't hear what you're thinking, they can't control how you react. But being quiet is only the surface, because beneath that stillness, you are building a wall that no manipulator can climb. Reaction is a form of slavery. When someone insults you and you snap back, you have handed them the leash. The Stoics knew that the person who can provoke you owns you. But your silence, it breaks the circuit. When you refuse to play the game, the opponent begins to panic. They expect anger, but you give them a void. They expect a defense, but you give them a mountain. Your non-reaction is a psychological punch that never lands, leaving them off balance. He who controls his tongue controls his fate. But silence isn't just about winning an argument. It's about the terrifying realization that you are watching them more closely than they are watching you. An unreadable mind is a fortress. Most people wear their insecurities like a neon sign. They over-explain because they crave validation. But when you remain silent, you become an enigma. People hate what they cannot categorize. If they don't know your next move, they can't prepare their trap. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, said we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. By listening more than you speak, you gather intelligence while keeping yours hidden. You aren't just being polite. You are conducting a masterclass in psychological warfare. They will try to fill the silence with their own secrets just to make the tension stop. But don't get too comfortable in the shadows, because silence also reveals the rot in the people you used to trust. Silence is the ultimate filter. When you stop talking, you stop performing. You stop holding up the mirrors that make other people feel comfortable in their lies. In the quiet, people's true masks begin to slip. Liars will keep talking to cover their tracks. The insecure will beg for your nod of approval. The manipulative will try to bait you into a reaction. Epictetus taught that we should mostly be silent, or say only what is necessary. By doing so, you see the world as it actually is, not as people want you to see it. Your stillness is a light that exposes their darkness. They hate you for it because you've taken away their stage. But seeing the truth in others is a heavy burden, and it forces you to face the most frightening silence of all, the one inside your own head. Most people drown out their inner voice with digital noise. They're terrified of what they might hear if the music stops. But the Stoic finds strength in the vacuum. When you master silence, you stop being a passenger in your own mind. You become the commander. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations for an audience. He wrote them in the quiet of his own soul. In that silence, you find the clarity to see your own flaws before they destroy you. Your peace is a threat to a society that profits off your distraction. If you don't need their noise, they can't sell you their fear. But peace is not a permanent state, because once you are empty of their influence, You must fill the space with a purpose that scares even you. Power is often found in what is left unsaid. The man who speaks too much is constantly leaking his authority. He is begging for attention, trying to prove his worth with every breath. But when you speak rarely, your words carry the weight of a judge. Stoicism teaches us that economy of speech is economy of soul. People listen differently when they know your voice isn't for sale. They lean in, they analyze, they respect the scarcity of your thoughts. You don't need to shout to be the most powerful person in the room. The loudest person is usually the weakest, hiding behind a wall of sound. Your silence is a throne, and they are just subjects fighting for air. But authority comes with a price, because once you master your speech, you realize that most of your friends were only there for the gossip. The ego is a hungry beast that feeds on likes and yeses. It demands that you defend every mistake and brag about every win. But silence is the ego's executioner. When someone tries to belittle you and you remain still, you aren't just being the bigger person. You are starving your ego of the conflict it craves to feel alive. The Stoic does not need to be right in the eyes of a fool. By letting their insults hang in the air, you force them to realize that their opinion has zero market value in your world. You are free because you have nothing left to prove. Your worth is a diamond forged in the pressure of your own self-standard. But don't mistake this for safety, because when you stop feeding your ego, you become a predator of your own weaknesses, and that battle is bloody. In the silence, there is nowhere for your demons to hide. When you stop talking to others, you are forced to listen to yourself. Most people use noise to escape their own mediocrity. They use a crowded schedule to avoid a lonely truth. They are staying the same. A Stoic uses silence as a surgical knife. You cut away the excuses, you dissect the laziness, you confront the cowardice you've been masking with busy work. When you sit in a room alone and say nothing, you realize that your greatest enemy isn't the world outside. It's the man in the mirror who keeps making promises he doesn't keep. Silence isn't a retreat. It's an ambush on your own comfort zone. But self-mastery is only the beginning. Because once you master your own internal chaos, you become the most dangerous person in any environment. A person who doesn't need to speak is a person who cannot be bought. In any negotiation, in any conflict, the person who is comfortable with silence holds the high ground. When you sit across from someone and say nothing, they will eventually spill their soul just to fill the tension. They will reveal their fears, their prices, and their lies. Your stillness is not passive. It is an active, predatory observation. You are measuring them while they are busy performing for you. Stoicism isn't just about being good. It's about being so centered that you become the gravity in the room. People are frightened of your silence because it proves you have reached a level of self-control they haven't even dreamed of. But don't get intoxicated by the power, because the final step isn't about being dangerous to others. It's about the legacy of the life you leave behind in the quiet. Every word you speak is a piece of your life you will never get back. Stop spending your soul on trivialities. One day your heart will beat its last, and the silence will become permanent. On that day, Will you regret the things you said or the things you didn't have the courage to keep to yourself? Stoics carry the weight of Memento Mori in every sentence. If this was your last hour on Earth, would you spend it complaining? Would you spend it begging for a like from a stranger? Use your silence to build something that lasts longer than your breath. The world is loud, chaotic, and dying. Be the one who stands still. Be the one who says more with a look than they do with 1,000 screams. Master your silence, or the noise will master you.